Good afternoon. It's Catherine here from Sacred Heart Alchemy and Divinely Inspired Feminine Leaders. So as usual, I'm jumping on because something's been stirring in me. Spirit has inspired me and called me. I don't usually like to get on and just, chat that much unless I feel inspired to do so. But it's actually nice to be back live. I sort of miss doing these. Maybe I'll do them more. But anyway, let me tell you what's on my mind. So if you're a client of mine, you hear me say this ad nauseum. If you're not a client of mine, I will let you in on sort of what's up. And that is that more and more what I'm seeing across my practice in people that I know, sort of in the world of, awakening and understanding what's going on, cosmically, astrologically, in terms of this ascension process, spiritual teachers that I follow, we have been doing a really deep dive for many years now, but even more so over the last 2 years, I would say, or maybe a year and a half. And what I'm noticing is that what's happening individually is also happening collectively. And that is as the earth moves through its transition, and we are now going through the photon belt, and we will be doing that for a number of years. More and more photon light is hitting the planet. So what the heck does that mean? Who cares, right? Well, what it means is that individually, each one of us, as well as the collective, as well as the planet itself, is feeling the intensity of the amount of photon light that's hitting the planet. And it's literally inviting us to make space for more and more light to come in so that we can ascend in our own individual and collective ascension process. But in order to do that, everything that's been in the dark, in the shadow, in the subconscious, in our old stories, literally needs to be brought to the surface, right? So that can it be healed, can it be revealed and then healed. And more over the last 18 months, I am experiencing my clients through lots of different ways, whether it's happening in their relationships, on the job, with their own health, just in conversations with other people. So often it's like the mirror is being shown to them through some experience, through some person, through some set of circumstances that is shining the light on core wounds that are coming to the surface to be healed. So, these opportunities for healing can also be pretty uncomfortable because we're getting triggered by things. This is how the universe brings it to our attention, that it's still in need of love, it's still in need of healing, but it's not always comfortable in the process. And the conversation that I've been having with a number of people this week is that they feel like they should be doing something, whether it's diving deeper more into their own spiritual practice or making a decision about a relationship or a job or a situation, but they feel a lot of resistance around that and they feel really stuck. And then, of course, their life force energy is not flowing in the optimal way because there's still a lot of heavy, dense energy that isn't being moved. So I'm going to just flip this idea of resistance a little bit because that sort of makes it sound like I'm doing something wrong. I'm being resistant, right? But I want to just reframe that to gently remind you that that kind of resistance, whether you're just distracting yourself with something else or you're just saying, nope, not doing that, right, is really the way your survival mind is wired for your protection and your survival. That's why it's called your survival mind. So of course it doesn't want you diving into old most likely emotionally or even physically painful experiences. So it is trying to keep you safe and protected by having you not go there. But if there's one thing that I have been playing with and thinking about and discovering over the 25 years of my journey, is that really deep and lasting healing requires doing a deep dive to heal the things that have been suppressed and compressed in our emotional and energetic bodies, perhaps for lifetimes, right? And it's why I think I have always struggled with law of attraction and the whole manifestation thing, and some sort of passive spiritual practices, because they don't necessarily take into consideration this need to move and process these old energies. So that's just sort of by way of context and introduction. So I've been thinking about that a lot this week. And then today I had to go to the bank, which is highly unusual. Who goes to the bank anymore? But I needed to take care of some business. And the young woman who was working on me, they're all young these days, right? My kids' ages. Anyway, she said, "Oh, happy birthday month." And I said, "Oh, thank you." And, my birthday is on the last day of the month. So I don't typically think of my birthday month. My birthday sort of comes and goes on the last day, but it just sort of got me thinking again about celebrating my life and my birth, and, that maybe I should be celebrating all month. And I immediately had this thought that part of celebrating for me is sharing. And it occurred to me as I was, just sort of in that frame of mind, that as my therapy practice is winding down, and that's intentional on my part, I haven't been taking new therapy clients for a while now, although, if you've worked with me before, I'm likely to say yes. But so I have some space in my calendar. That's lovely. And I thought it might be just a really nice idea to offer a program that I put out a while back, because I now have some additional space opening up in my calendar for this program that I was calling Awakening. And it's kind of like a coach on call sort of things, because one of the things I needed when I was going through sort of the deepest part of my healing, awakening, leaving my marriage, living on my own, giving up my job, starting a healing center, being without my children and my pets, like going through menopause all at the same time. It would have been a wonderful gift to myself if I had someone who I could just touch base with periodically, for guidance, for support, for inspiration. I was fortunate enough to have, spiritual circle of women. But in addition, I realize now it would have served me well. I didn't necessarily want to be in therapy because I didn't feel like I, was really struggling with anxiety or depression or some kind of mental illness, but I certainly was going through a huge transition in my life and could have used some support. And that's actually why I created this program. It's called Awakening, but I kind of call it Mentor, Mother, Midwife, because I believe that we all need at different parts in our journey, and sometimes simultaneously, someone who can mentor us, in the sense of someone who has walked the path that we are walking, who has learned some things along the way, and can, I like to turn around and offer a hand to someone coming up behind them, right? To say, look, I've been down this road. I've learned a few things. I got, some tricks in my tool bag that I used to help support me on my journey. And I would love to make this journey easier for you by by mentoring you and letting and sharing with you the things that I have learned along the way. The other piece is, that mother energy. And those of you who know me know that my mom passed when I was 22. And so even though I had a mother for the first 22 years of my life, I was one of 8 children, and my mother's time and attention was very much divided. And she was a wonderfully loving and giving woman, but I didn't feel like I had a lot of her time and attention. And of course, and then when she passed when I was 22, that was sort of the end of my mothering years. And so I know that there are many of you, whether your mother has passed on, whether your mother is still here, whether your mother is loving and wonderful, or whether your relationship with your mother has been challenging, that having someone who can hold that nurturing, mothering energy in a healthy, emotionally healthy way, to be a good listener, to be a sounding board, to just be there when things are rough and rocky, able to just hold space for you. And maybe, if asked, offer advice, but not even necessarily, right? To just hold space and listen and support. So mentor, mother, and midwife. So the midwife piece is someone who can support you in conceiving of, if you will, and then holding that vision for you and helping you birth something new at this time in your life, wherever you are. But I work a lot with women who I consider to be in midlife, and there's a range there for sure, but somewhere in the 40s to mid 60s, and depending on if and when we had children and where we are in our own process of raising children, or whether we've been in a long-term relationship, and that has maybe we still are, or that has ended. But wherever we are in our process, generally at some point in midlife, some of those responsibilities that we made the choice to be involved in, our relationship, raising children, our career, are starting to, if not fall completely away, not require our time and our energy in quite the same way, as they did when we were full in it, right? And so now we have this life force energy that continues to flow through us, that is calling us to expand, that is calling us to step into a higher version of ourselves. And wouldn't it be awesome to have someone to midwife us through that period? So that's what this offering, this program that I'm sharing with you is about. It's about having someone on call who could mentor us, mother us, or midwife us, depending on where we are in our process or in any particular moment, to really step in with any of that energy. So that being said, this is, as I said, this is a program that I created a while back. It filled up. I didn't have space, but I do have space now. And I thought I would come back around and share it again for anyone who might be in a place to be considering this kind of coach on call program. What I will say is that the program is not for everyone, because it's not a place necessarily to do the deep dive work. This is actually sort of laser sessions, sort of shorter sessions to use as touching base, running something by somebody, getting support around something, working something through in 15 or 20 minutes. So it's not for people who are deeply still doing their trauma work, or are maybe in a mental or emotional state that's still pretty unstable. It's better for people who have done some of the heavy lifting already, whether you've done that through working with me as a therapy or coaching client, or you've done it with someone else or on your own. But you're really in a place now where you're on pretty good ground, and you would still like some support moving forward. So this is a year-long program of laser coaching where literally you would have, for one, flat cost, you would have access to me on a coaching call, and then through a little bit of follow-up support over the course of a year. Now there is a caveat, of course, because I can't be talking to you every day for the next year. So the way that it works is we have a session, you get some homework, there's some stuff to be done, and then when you're ready, you go to my calendar and you sign up for the next session. So you do have to share the homework that you've done with me before you go ahead and schedule your next session. So, some of it depends on, obviously your timing. So you're not saying, well, what's this going to cost me? I'm going to be completely transparent about this. Like I said, it's a year-long program at the ridiculously low price of $997 for the entire year. Now, I've been in the world of coaching for about 15 years, both as a coach and as someone who's taking a lot of coaching courses myself. And I can tell you that this is a bargain. And I'm not a salesperson. I don't generally come on and sell a lot of programs and talk about what a great deal it is, but it feels like a gift to me. I don't feel like I'm trying to sell anybody anything. If this resonates with you, if you feel like this ability, this opportunity to have someone to be there and sort of play those three parts, mentor, mother, midwife, for you over the next year as you work through some transition, as you start a new business, as you are making decisions about moving, or wherever you are. If you just like a voice of reason and sanity and support and a cheerleader on your side, I'm going to invite you to take a look at this program. I'm going to put the link for it below, and you can just go to the landing page and take another look. I've pretty much just laid it out there for you. There's no mystery. There's nothing hidden. And if you feel called to get in touch with me and have a conversation about that, I'm happy to do that. So as my gift to you in my birthday month, I really offer this with my full heart. And I hope that if you are in a place of transition or spiritual awakening and really would just like sort of a very solid, sane, fun and experience, because I've been through all of these things, right? I've been mentored and I've been a mentor. I've been a mom and I've needed a mom. And certainly I have worked with many, many clients to bring their dream, their idea, their soul purpose, whatever it is, to fruition, as I have, for myself over these last, bunch of years. So anyway, that's enough, I think. I hope you're all finding ways to manage in these very challenging times, because they are challenging times, right? Like literally it's hitting the fan every day as more and more of this light force energy which is supporting our awakening. But in the meantime, it's bringing a lot to the surface individually and collectively, and it's not always easy to address. And I am absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, from my perspective in my own spiritual work, from working with everybody that I have the opportunity to talk to every day, I know that literally the universe, in its desire for us to expand and step into a higher expression of ourselves, is giving us these opportunities, is shining this mirror back on us, reflecting back to us the parts of us that are still wanting to be healed, wanting to be heard, wanting to be accepted and offered compassion and acceptance and love. And if I can walk that process, that journey with you, that would expand my heart more than I can even tell you. So have a beautiful rest of your day as we move into the weekend here. And again, I'll put the information and the link below so that if this is something that you would like to have a conversation about, I would be delighted to speak with you. So many blessings. Thank you for being in my community, and have a beautiful day. Bye now.